This video therefore is about just getting out somewhere, anywhere, and making an image that may not be any good, but helps to keep the creative juices flowing. I hope you'll enjoy the video. If you do, and you're not already a subscriber, then please consider hitting subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you very much, I appreciate that. Good morning everyone, thank you for joining me. Last week I was running a 3-day workshop and I hit 7, arguably 8 of my kind of go-to locations in the space of 3 days. And this week I really wanted to be doing something new. My plan was to spend, I had a day planned scouting. I'm going to go out on a day trip, visit loads of new locations, and then I hope that I would get something, you know, at least 1 or 2 of those that would be worth shooting. I think it was John Lennon that said that life is what happens when you're making other plans, although somebody may have said it before him. But that's basically what happened. Life kind of got in the way and that scouting trip hasn't happened yet. So yesterday in the evening I was sitting at home thinking I really want to go out in the morning, but where do I go? I just couldn't think of a good location. And that's a dangerous trap, because you start looking at a location and you dismiss it. You look at another one and you dismiss it. And before you know where you are, you've actually talked yourself out of going out. So what I think is really important if you find yourself in that trap is just go somewhere, go anywhere. Put a load of names in a hat and draw one out. Stick a pin in the map. You know, give each possible location a number and get somebody to give you a random number that coincides with one of those, and just go there. Because one thing's for sure, I'm probably not going to get a fantastic image here this morning. Just keep an eye on things, the waves are suddenly getting up. I'm probably not going to get a fantastic image here this morning because the conditions aren't really right for it. But I'm going to get a better image than I would do if I'd stayed at home in bed. This video therefore is about just getting out somewhere, anywhere, and making an image that may not be any good, but helps to keep the creative juices flowing. So the composition I've got here is this rock sticking out into the water, and there's another section of it that's mostly underwater. There's kind of a deeper part going down. As the waves come in, they wash up into the foreground, and as they recede, they create like a little waterfall effect going off of the rocks there. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a biggish wave coming in, like this one, but hopefully not followed by another big wave, because I want a little bit of a gap for the water to run out. And if you get like 2 or 3 big waves together, you don't get the gap. You have to wait for the last one. So what I'm hoping to get is water running off of that rock like a little mini waterfall. Like, hopefully like that. But what I'm also hoping to get is some nice kind of trailing waves on the rocky area in the foreground. And if I can time that for when there's a big wave breaking out further out on the edge of the rocks, that will just kind of complete the image. Now if I don't manage to time that correctly, well, I could composite if I have to. I prefer not to, but if it means getting a better image, then I will do. So the light's pretty lousy. We're actually past sunrise now. I arrived here about half an hour before, but we've got largely clear skies apart from out on the horizon where we got clouds. I did check the position of sunrise when I got here. I started off doing some shots at half a second, f11, 35mm on the 16 to 35 lens, and a 2-stop hard-edged ND grad because the sky is brighter than the foreground. I'm now down to 1/4 of a second. Because obviously it's getting brighter even though we haven't got a lot of direct light on the scene. There's a little tiny bit of colour appearing in the sky out there. Yeah, so to quickly rush and change the ND grad. 2-stop wasn't holding the sky back enough because the sun is actually, well, I say the sun, some light from the sun is making a little tiny bit of an appearance through the clouds over there. But I don't think we're going to get anything great. Compositionally, I've got this rocky bit that comes out here, a little bit below the horizon line. The horizon's high up on the frame, probably well above the 1/3 line, because the sky's pretty boring. The rock comes in from the left-hand side, and then the kind of the channel-y bit around here curves in from the right-hand side. Possibility that I'll crop this 16:9 depending on how it looks. So I've been just tweaking the ISO down to keep my shutter speed at around half a second, because that seems to be looking best for these waves. We're getting a little bit of interest in the sky, not a lot, but there's some rays coming out from behind the sun. From behind the sun? From behind the clouds. Okay, I've already taken the ISO depth all the way down to the low 1 setting. So that's the equivalent of ISO 31 or 32. It should be 32, but Lightroom calls it 31. And I've now just reduced the aperture to f14, from f11 to f14. Basically just trying to hold that half a second exposure time, because any faster than that and I think we're losing the kind of trails, the patterns in the water. Half a second seems to suit the conditions we've got here. We've also got some quite nice, I don't know how it's going to show up here on the video, there's some quite nice kind of rays coming out from behind the cloud where the sun's coming up. We're about 12 minutes, 13 minutes after sunrise now, and what's going to happen in a few minutes, the sun's going to come up above that cloud and then it's all over because it's going to be too harsh, too bright, and we're going to get lens flare. But at the minute it's looking pretty nice. Okay, that sun is getting way too bright now. It's getting quite harsh. It's just about to come over the top of the clouds. Those lovely rays that we were getting earlier have pretty much disappeared. There's still sun coming down, but it just doesn't look as nice. Now I've taken a lot of shots. I've been trying to time it and then firing off 3 or 4 shots at a time. So I'm going to have to go and do some sorting out when I get them back home to see which ones work the best. But for now, I think it's all over. I'm going to pack up and head for home. I'm glad I came out this morning, and that's kind of what this video is about. I was dithering, indecisive, couldn't work out what I wanted to do. Picked a location, came out, and I've had a nice morning. And I may not have a great image, but hopefully I'll have a nice image to show for my troubles. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, please consider hitting the thumbs up, giving it a like. You can share it on social media, and I'd love to hear from you. leave me a comment. And of course, if you're not already a subscriber, maybe you'd consider hitting subscribe now. As always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch, so thank you very much. And until the next video, bye.